Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Aurora Stefrak, and here I am to deliver you the weekly intuitive energy update for the week of October 11th, 2021. So welcome, welcome. If you are new here, I just want you to keep in your back pocket that this is a timeless reading, and what that means is that basically you can, be drawn to it at any time. Just because I'm recording it for the week of October 11th, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only time it's relevant. So if you do come across this and it's past October 11th, then this message is for you, and you are divinely where you were always meant to be. So keep your ears open, keep your heart open, keep your mind open, and just be open to receiving the messages. So what I'm going to do first is I have my singing bowl here, and I'm just going to play it a little bit to clear the energies, to kind of pull in energies, to do what I do to connect. And then I will, as always, kind of just start reading my list and then go from there. So let's do it. Awesome. Amazing. 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 I hope that you guys are able to tap into that energetic clearing that I just did for anybody that watches this video. As you know, time is not real, and we're able to hold frequencies and basically, like create little bubbles of, information to tap into so that we're able to help each other evolve. Actually, you know what? Just because I started talking about that, I'm actually going to tell you guys a little story just to open it up. So I was talking to my friend Heidi this week, and we were talking, and like when we talk, like we really connect to our higher self. So it's like, as much as it is Heidi and Aurora talking, it is also our higher selves in the universe conversating with us, right? And so when we're connected, we just have, the most interesting of conversations, and like my third eye will be really activated because I'm connecting to my spirituality and my spiritual worlds. And so my third eye is just like navigating all these concepts and ideas, and we have a lot of fun with it. But anyway, so we're just like sitting there, and we're on the phone, and I said to her, like the one day I said to her, like I'm seeing this thing in my mind where it's like her and I were just like children, and like we were just like in this room, like there was no context. It's not even like it was in a building necessarily, more or less just like in the ethers, like, and it wasn't even necessarily a room. It was mostly just like this wall, but the wall was kind of like a mirror type thing, and like we were basically looking at our reflections like as the little children that we were in my mind. And I just explained the scene to her, and I was like, wow, like this is so trippy, like this is so deep, like what's going on here? And so like I just see little Heidi and little Aurora like just like looking into our own eyes, into these mirrors in this place in the ethers within my mind. And it was like our inner children, right? And our higher selves, I guess, combined into one. And yeah, and so that was really, really interesting. And then the next day we're talking, and I'm like tapped in again, and I'm like seeing different things. And I said to her, holy shit, this is crazy. And then I said, you know how I thought of that yesterday? Well, today I'm like seeing all of it, but in such a different perspective. Like that perspective that I had was just purely, you know, eye to eye, my consciousness with my consciousness, and obviously Heidi's as well, but like in a bubble. Like we were both in our own little worlds, but we knew like each other were there, right? And then the next day I started seeing like bubbles, like instead of us just being in this etheric like room, we were actually like, there were bubbles everywhere. They were just, it just looked like bubbles of energy and of information. And so then I started telling Heidi, I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Like now I'm seeing us in like these bubbles. It was like, how do we even describe it? It was just like a bunch of universes of like, you know, we can plug into this one or we can plug into that one and we can do, you know, it was just like showing me basically, you know, like our energy that we're in and what it is that is available to us, and how like each thing, like each energetic field has its own like little universe that adds to each universe. And anyway, it goes deep, but like this is just like the stuff that I'm just tapping into while I'm talking to her. So that was the first thing. That was the first thing that needed to come through, was I guess just this perspective. Big perspective shifts coming up this week. And like really, like I guess third eye being activated. So you might start seeing things. And when I say seeing things, it doesn't necessarily mean like seeing things, but it's like when we say I see, it's like I understand, right? When you're saying, if someone's explaining something to you and you go, oh yeah, I see, right? Like you're literally saying I see, right? And so that is your third eye understands, the mind understands, right? So learning to basically be able to understand things, the world, your place in it, in a way of your own unique kind of like perspective, right? And actually, now that I'm saying that, I'm being shown Chelsea, which is another really good friend of mine, and she oh no, I lost my train of thought. Oh right, so I said to her, I said, you know what's really trippy, when like you start realizing the significance of your own life, you know, like when you start being able to look at your life and really seeing, having all the aha moments, having all the understanding of like why it is that you went through what you went through, and like the lessons that you were learning throughout the process, right? And so like we get into like these kind of bubbles of like self-doubt and criticism and, you know, different kind of like lower energy, like human kind of ways to live our lives. Instead of tapping into our higher consciousness, we stay stuck in our limiting beliefs. And so I said to her, like, wait until you start like deeply like having these deep revelations around why things happen with what has happened. And of course she has, like she's far on her path, right? And so like she definitely understands, you know, like the different things of her reality and what they mean. But I mean like the core, like the way that you're born, how you were born, how your birth affected your life, how your childhood affected your life, how your parents did, how this, how that, like just to be able to like reflect and not be so emotionally connected to the pain and the suffering, but more in a higher connection to your spiritual self, to your higher understanding, to, you know, empathy, compassion, and love for yourself and for people involved, so that you're able to rise above the limiting situation or the pain. There you go. And I just had a nice release there, excuse me. So that is like, you know, really showing me that solar plexus being activated, right? And so like that's kind of what it is, like that I am presence, right? And so being able to like really deeply and truly understand like your life and yourself is something this week that I think, you know, and I'm getting a yawn now. More release, more confirmation. And so really getting to know yourself right now, like, you know, you might have like some type of breakdown this week that is going to really like tug at your deepest wounds, tug at your heart space, which actually now I'm getting into some of what I have written down. But yeah, so like this week, like we're going to I don't want to say like an identity crisis per se, but really like things are not going to work that aren't meant to work anymore, because we're really getting activated to our higher timelines right now. And when we get activated to our higher timelines, what isn't serving us falls away. But in order for it to fall away, we have to learn to let go, right? And in order to let go, we have to learn that we even need to let go of that, right? So that's kind of the energy that we're in, is like really like, I guess, really prioritizing like what it is that you want to keep in your life moving forward. And as much as we do say this every week, like it's in another context, right? Like it's in the sense of your heart space, and like what it is that, you know, that you're going to allow to stay there, or that you're going to choose to alchemize into compassion and wisdom instead of pain and suffering, right? So cool. That was a nice little leeway into what's going on here. So I'm just going to start reading from my list now. So the first thing I have here is like, we're going to be having a lot of catalysts for deep past life heart clearing. Okay, guys, like, so this is why there's going to be this identity moment, like this identity dissolution, this questioning of who you are, questioning reality, questioning everything, because you're going to be feeling so deeply that, like in a way that you've never felt before. Because what happens is that when we care about things too much, we actually, as a defense mechanism, don't care at all. And so what happens over time is that because we have suppressed the parts of ourselves that we really do care about, but we're not allowed to show that, or we have not given ourselves permission to feel that, and these types of things are really going to be surfacing this week to be cleared. And it's actually not going to be like massive events in your life externally, as much as it is going to be small events that catalyze massive emotional triggers. So I'm going to say that again, just to make sure that we all understand what I'm saying. So what is going to be happening is that we're going to be clearing a lot of deep past life heart wounds. And what is going to happen is, in our external reality, something small may happen, but it is going to manifest within our emotional body like it is the end of the fucking world, because it is triggering past life emotions, okay? Our emotional body runs deep. It runs into lifetimes. It runs into our childhood. It is an accumulation of who and what we are. And so, you know, we hold on to a lot in our emotional body. And so we're really learning this week, and last week I did mention about the crying, right? Like, I basically activated whoever watched last week to cry, to whether you're a man or whether you're a woman or whether you're transgender, it doesn't matter. It's, you know, you need to cry, you need to release. Like, that was such a big message last week. And so I actually just spent half of the time explaining the benefits of crying, so that we can use our logical mind with our emotional wisdom, because those emotions, they're guiding us. They're so deep. Like, these emotions are so rooted in our soul that we can't rationalize it. Our human cannot understand what our emotions always mean and why we feel things so deeply, right? And so we're really being invited, like without, you know, much option, to kind of shine a light on these shadow aspects of ourselves, and to really like want to grow beyond that emotional immaturity, right? And that emotional misunderstanding. And so really, like, there's going to be small things that are going to happen in our external reality that are going to trigger our emotions so intensely that, well, we're not really going to know what to do, which is why I'm making this video, so that you, even if you don't know what to do per se, you now have this awareness. So like, oh shit, okay, thank God I'm not crazy. And Aurora said, this is what's coming up right now. And so trust that. Trust these messages that are coming through. I call in your higher self. I call in my higher self. I call in source. I call in the angels. I call in spirit guides. I call in everybody of 100% pure love and light to be able to deliver you these messages. So that's why it's so important, like your higher self is saying, like that's why it's so important to be listening and to give yourself that time and to give yourself that space, so that when you do feel an emotion, when you do get triggered, it's not just like, oh, fuck that shit, I need to freaking do this or that or whatever, and then you get lost in it. It's like, no, okay, whoa, I want to notice that this is what happened. I want to notice that that thing affected me in that way, so that I don't have to keep living from that space, right? And that's really, we're just going to have a tender heart. And like there may be some like kind of sleep issues as well that are going to be going on, because our head and our heart are we're purging. It's being shaken up right now. Our energetic field, our emotional body is just like freaking like vibrating at like 1,000,000 miles an hour, because like on top of, all of, these energetic shifts happening, we still have the physical world that we're living in. And so there's a lot to have to balance as a human being. And so we're not always going to be in balance, but hopefully we're always striving to be in balance, right? So that's kind of the whole idea of it. So I also have like karmic clearing, cleansing, which again is what I basically just said. Like if we want to choose to heal that emotion, that emotional trigger, that emotional response, we bring awareness to it. And as we bring awareness to it and choose to embody a higher version of ourselves, then we're able to move forward in that way, in like choosing like to be that higher version all the time, where it doesn't have to even be a thought anymore, because you just are it, right? But of course that is a process, and so we have to learn where we are at in order to evolve beyond where we are, right? So yeah, there's a lot of karmic clearing, cleansing, and honestly, you don't even need to do anything. Like this is another message, right? Like you don't need to do anything at all. Like all you need to do is listen, and you will be emotional if you are connected and if you are tapped in. And so if you are listening and you are crying when you need to cry, or you are like allowing your emotions to guide you, excuse me, more energy releases. So if you're allowing these emotions to guide you and you're listening to them and you're honoring them, then this will clear karmic triggers. So I don't know, I'm being told to like share an example of like what a karmic trigger can look like. So I actually have taken QHHT, which is Dolores Cannon's her quantum hypnosis healing. And so I have learned a lot about, like tapping into the subconscious mind and understanding kind of like how we can bring up different experiences from our subconscious mind from past lifetimes to actually clear out the emotional or the mental or the physical baggage, if you will, of this lifetime, right? And so an example that I'm being shared to, or being shown right now to share is so there was this woman, and she went under in the QHHT training that I did, and basically what happened to her was she back in the day she was going to fetch the well water or something like that, and she was very highly spiritually involved. She was a healer, but back then they weren't actually allowed to do the things that we consider a healer today, because they would have called that a witch and then burnt them and killed them, or however they wanted to kill them, right? So what happened with this woman was she went to go fetch some well water with somebody that she knew from the village that she lived in. And as she was doing that, she shared like some of her experiences with this other woman, because she felt that she was safe and she could be open and she could be vulnerable with her. Well, what happened was, in her past life, that lady actually turned on her. That lady actually went and told somebody and said, hey, this person is doing something that they're not allowed to do, that they're not supposed to be doing, even though what they were doing was not evil, was not malicious, malevolent. It was just, you know, them connecting to their higher selves, connecting to spirit, connecting to their ability. That experience, and, you know, she ended up getting killed because of this exchange of information, and then the ripple of the effects of that moment. And so in this lifetime where she was put under and that was brought to her, right? Like, she now understands this sense of like not being able to ever trust people, you know, like she's gone through her life not being able to trust, not knowing how to discern who to trust, attracting a lot of relationships that where trust is broken because she doesn't trust, because in her past life she never was, she trusted herself and she thought that she could be open and vulnerable, but then learned in that, from that life experience, you know, ending in death, her soul had that memory and had that trauma of, oh my God, I can't say anything because then I'm going to get killed. And so bringing that into this lifetime in like the modern day of 2021, like where you might have an irrational fear of like spiders, or of like, you know, high buildings, or of looking at certain religious, you know, like architectures and different things, because it might have some soul memory for you, right? And so like we're really going to be tapping into this greater awareness of what our emotions are actually showing us, right? And so yeah, like that was just to kind of illustrate to you guys kind of like the karmic clearing that and what it could kind of look like in like a practical way, right? And so that woman, as she, you know, had that awareness and that understanding brought to her, she was able to take that fractal piece back, her fractal self back into her wholeness, and she was able to live from that whole space now. She's like, oh cool, now I know. I know I didn't trust because in a past lifetime I told somebody that I wasn't supposed to, something that I shouldn't have said, and then I got killed for it. And so now in this lifetime, she always had fear of prosecution, but now she has liberated herself from that. Samskara is what is called in the yogic tradition, which is like the karmic cycle of basically pain and suffering, right? And so to be able to raise your consciousness and elevate yourself beyond, you know, those experiences, but the healing journey is not linear, and it was just 22 minutes and 22 seconds, so I had to share that. But yeah, so it's not, the healing linear is not the healing linear. The healing journey is not linear, right? And so what happens is like we can literally heal instantaneously, because what happens on the quantum level, like everything is happening simultaneously. There is no past, future. There is only the present, this now moment. And so all things are happening right now, which I know it's like, what the hell? How do you even understand that? Well, just don't even worry about it and just conceptualize it and try to understand it every day to the best of your ability until you start kind of registering it a little bit more and really breaking away from the linear times and accessing more of the quantum timelines where we are able to literally instantaneously heal ourselves. And like this is kind of that energy of Christ consciousness and Buddha consciousness and fifth dimensional consciousness, of being able to tap into source energy, into this higher consciousness, and anchor it in through our vessels and clear our channels here, and to be able to anchor our spirit deeper into our body and ascend our body into higher health, into higher vibrancy, into a higher frequency, right? So that's kind of like the goal, if you will, of like awakening and ascension, is really just being the best version of yourself and creating an environment of the world with everybody else to be able to live a life in alignment with truth, authenticity, integrity, love, compassion, empathy, and all of the amazing, beautiful things that come with really having this higher awareness, right? And that's not to say that we don't have the shadow. It's just to say that we are always choosing to transmute that shadow, right, into a higher version of ourselves. Okay, cool. And then the next is higher heart and Christ consciousness activation, which is what I just said, right? So what is happening as we are purging these emotions and bringing awareness to past lifetimes and really doing the work of like really bringing ourselves back to ourselves, we have this higher heart activation. And what that means is like within our heart, we have our human heart, but we also have the heart that leads us, the heart that guides us, that heart of awareness, source consciousness that works through us, through our heart. And that source consciousness is the higher heart. So being able to work with this higher energy in your heart is what's going to help you move forward. So when you're needing guidance and you don't have anybody around you to guide you, that is when you go within, and that is when you call in your higher heart and your higher self and God source energy and all the angels and guides of 100% pure love and light that are able to help you at this time to move forward through this emotion, through this experience. Please bring me understanding. You have to ask for help, right? So you must ask for help in order to be helped by anyone, whether that be physical or spiritual, right? You have to ask for help, or at least, give an opening for somebody to help you, or else free will blocks you from being able to receive any help if you do not allow it. All right, beautiful. So what else do we have here? So deep emotional cleanse and emotional body reset. Okay, guys, so what is going to be happening through accessing our past lives and our higher heart chakra and karmic clearing and all these different things is we're going to have a deep emotional cleanse and purge, right? And so what this is going to do is it's actually going to hit like a nice reset button on our nervous system, because we're going to be going into our own psyche, our own body, our own mind to be able to understand who we are, who I am, who you are, not as a mother or as a daughter or as a sister or as a brother, but as a sovereign being of, consciousness here to experience and to evolve their soul and to step into their sovereignty, right? And so like this is what we're being reset for, where basically while this higher heart and Christ conscious energy like flow into our being, that's going to reset our nervous system to basically higher standards, to a higher standard of perception where we will not tolerate things that are against our integrity, that are out of alignment with who we truly are, that, because we've done so much belief work and really unpacking our beliefs that, okay, cool, our mind, we've got our beliefs done, but our heart, our emotions are not aligning yet because we still are in fear, or we're still in lack, or we're still in whatever that is, right? And so as these things come through and really like reset our nervous system, it's going to shift our conscious, our perception of our reality. It's going to like boop, reset it, and then you're able to see things more clearly from an emotional mature place and a mentally mature place and a head and heart coherence place as well, right? And so you're able to flow with all that in balance, because then you have the emotional body and the rational mind balanced with making your decisions for you, for where you're going, okay? And so this is going to affect our relationships. This is going to affect our perception of the world, okay? Our relationship with the world. What is the world? What is this place that we're in? What the actual fuck is going on, right? You might have a lot of questions. And so that is that higher heart. You're asking the deeper questions, and that's a beautiful thing, because that means you're waking up, and that means you're coming out of the matrix basically, and you're like choosing to evolve beyond what it is that you have maybe not necessarily like you have kept yourself limited in, but in a way, yes, but also just your circumstances, your life, your consciousness, your perception, whatever it is, right, that has kept you where you are. You're really breaking free and out of that right now. Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay. So then also, so the mind actually triggers the emotional body, right? And so when we have a thought, a feeling will follow. Okay. And so it's the thought that is triggering the emotional response. So that is where, and last week I did talk about the conception of the thought and being able to go back to the conception. Oh wait, no, maybe that was in a reading. Actually, I think that was in a reading that I gave to somebody. But it was a really profound realization anyways, where they had the word conception and then belief and then whatever, but basically the conception and the belief paired together were showing me that is where our reality is manifested from, the conception of our belief, right? And so in that moment of belief of whatever it is, that triggers an emotional response, and then that emotional response, that's like the quantum level of the thought, because that emotional response has a plethora of different mental triggers, right? And so when we have the thought that triggers the emotion, it'll trigger more thought that has to do with that emotion, right? And so that's why, like, being aware, like, you could be stuck in kind of like a back and forth banter between the head and the heart. So really start honing in on like clearing the head and clearing the heart and bringing it more into alignment, into solitude, into peace, so that you're able to listen as things come up and then take the proper action in order to execute whatever it is that you're hearing, right? So having that awareness that the mind actually triggers the emotional body. And this is going to allow for us to have more clarity between the mind and the body connection, or the mind emotional connection, right? The emotions and the body can kind of be pulled together, and then the mind, right? And the body is the subconscious mind, which means our emotions are the subconscious mind as well, right? So that's why sometimes working with just our belief system doesn't actually work, or sometimes working with just the conscious mind doesn't actually work, because well, not sometimes actually, like most of the time, because you need to get under the iceberg, you know, the tip of the iceberg, and then you have all the iceberg under the water. That is the subconscious mind, right? It is below the conscious, and it is what we are not aware of. And so the more that we consciously pull from the subconscious, the more we're able to heal and grow and evolve and rise into our higher state of being. So yes, we will be gaining more clarity between the mind and the body emotional connection. All right, let's see. Where do I want to go next here? I guess I'll talk about that. Okay, yeah. So yesterday actually was the 1010 portal. Okay, and every year we have the 1010 portal. But this year, the 1010 portal is, which by the way, 1010 meaning October 10th. And so it would be 2021. So that would be a 5. So 5 is all about change, right? And so we're entering into this 1010 portal with the base frequency being change, or like not the base, but like the year frequency being change, right? And so as we are entering through this 1010 portal, it's like basically, all it is that we have this influx of energy. Whenever I'm saying portal, it just means like there's an opening, okay? There's an opening for higher consciousness to come into lower consciousness, and for lower consciousness to rise into higher consciousness, right? And so the 1010 portal is all about endings and beginnings, okay? It's like kind of like the Fool in tarot, which is like you're kind of stepping out onto this next journey, and you're excited, you're maybe a bit naive, you don't know all about everything that's going on, but you're closing one door because you're now entering into a new realm, basically. So that was yesterday. That was the Sunday, the 10th of October. That was the 1010 portal, and I really don't know too much about it. So if you want to know more, then I highly recommend looking into it, because I did watch some really incredible videos on the 1010 portal, and I also discovered that today was the 1011 portal, which the 1011 in numerology will equate to 111, right? Because the 0 out of the 10, and then you squish them together, right? And so that is the 111 portal, and 11s are master numbers. 11s are all about being activated into our spiritual, like, revelations, into our spirituality, into our spiritual life. And so like 11 kind of represents, you can imagine like them representing door handles for like doors opening, right? So it's so funny that yesterday was the beginnings and ends, and then today is the 11, which is totally being connected spiritually to you know, your life, your purpose, your path, and it's activating our magic and abundance of spirituality. So that's pretty exciting. So really like being open to that childlike nature of reality, of like, you know, like seeing the synchronicities and getting excited and laughing with the universe because, you know, someone just, I don't know, came and bought you a coffee right after you were like clearing a thought around not having enough money or something, where you're like, oh, I don't have enough money to buy my coffee, but then you're like, you know what, I'm gonna actually go buy my coffee because I deserve it, and I'm gonna work to break through my limiting beliefs of money. And then you're like going to go get it, and then, you know, the person ahead of you ended up paying for you. Who knows, right? Like, I mean, it's just, these are the types of things that are going to be opening up to us, and it's like really meeting people with a lot of like a soul resonance and a lot of like similar belief systems, and kind of, in order for us to do that, we have to allow for our old to be shed, right? For our old to be released. So yeah, that's all I really got for those. So look into the 1010 portal and the 1011 portal and kind of do your own research around that. But basically, in a nutshell, it's endings and beginnings, and it's an activation of magic and abundance of our spirituality. So it really is an exciting time. But of course, that is what is happening this week too, with everything else that's going on with, you know, deep past life heart clearing and higher heart Christ consciousness activation. And we're having deep emotional cleansing and our emotional body reset. We're having our relationships shifting. We're having our perception of the world shifting. We're having all these deep, profound revelations and realizations. Our mind, body, emotion connection is strengthening, and we're getting more clarity, right? So this is kind of the new beginning that we're entering into, where we don't doubt ourselves anymore. We don't come from a place of lack. We stand in our power, and we really choose to, you know, stand for what we believe in instead of allowing for the world to come into us. We are going out into the world, right? So it really is a beautiful, beautiful place to be. Okay. Awesome. I only have a few more things, and then I'm going to pull some cards for the week. So, which I just said, but it says taking our power back. And this is base chakra activations. Okay, guys. So like in our physicality, in our physical world, also sexually as well, because the base has to do with sexuality, also has to do with safety and security. So this is really taking our power back in these ways. Financially is also safety and security. So like really taking our power back in our base chakra area. So I really highly suggest that you look into your base chakra and what it kind of represents. Actually, I just saved these little pictures, so I'm actually going to look just to see what it said. Okay, so root chakra. What a balanced root chakra looks like. So you feel protected, cared for, and loved even if you are alone. You feel present in your body. You feel your basic needs are covered. You feel you are a part of the world. Since you feel your basic needs are covered, you can expand your consciousness. This is why Kundalini activation starts at the root chakra. And then, oh, I missed, you are resilient as well, okay? So that is what a balanced root chakra looks like. And honestly, most of us are not even remotely close to being balanced in our root chakra. So all of us have work to do there, but we're really being opened up to realize what it is that we as individuals need to work on, not what your friends need to work on, not what this person, not projecting your shit onto everyone, but really taking our power back and taking our responsibility back to really own what it is that we need to own so that we can move forward, because projecting onto everyone else doesn't get you anywhere. It just creates way more pain and suffering than needs to happen. Okay, so we have also base energy rising up the spine through the heart to the mind and cosmos, right? Which is that Kundalini energy. So we're activating our Kundalini energy by taking care of our physical bodies, our physical needs, what it is that is going to make us feel safe, make us feel held, give us a sense of safety and security, basically. That's really what we're focusing on. And in all the ways, this could be emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, spiritually, whatever it is, right? And so as we are activating and taking our power back, this base energy is going to start rising. It's going to start rising up through your chakras, because what happens is that when we activate our base chakra and we're taking our power back and we're really standing in our truth, then we're able to feel it working through our chakras. And because as you start kind of tinkering with the one energy of a chakra, it'll start activating other areas, right? And that's how you start getting the flow of energy, the flow of Kundalini, the flow of life force, the flow of chi, the flow of whatever you want to call it, right? But what it is to be alive, that feeling, that sensation that pulses through your blood when you are happy, when you are, I don't know, having sex, having an orgasm, working out, laughing with friends, you know, all these things that are building this higher energy and connecting you to your bliss body. But now, in order to really be embodying that bliss body, you have to be able to have the discipline to process your stuff, heal your stuff, right? To be able to pull that shit, because your base is where all of your trauma is held, right? And so what happens is when that energy starts being activated, it starts, you know, as it starts coming up, that trauma is going to hit your heart, right? Because I'm saying here that the base energy is rising up the spine, through the heart, to the mind, into the cosmos. And that's when you have a clear open channel, and you can be a clear open channel for source energy, for source consciousness, right? And so what's happening is that things in our base chakra are going to start getting kind of worked up, and then as they kind of keep coming up, it hits our heart, and that's where it's being asked to be cleared on the emotional level, right? So it's like, okay, we can see in our base that this is what's going on, this is what's not making us safe, this is what's upsetting us, this is what's going on, but then you have to deal with the emotion of that. It's one thing to intellectualize it, it's another thing to feel it and to process it and to let it up and let it out, right? So that is what is really going to be going on this week, is really that communication between the safety of our life, our reality, and the emotional fulfillment, the emotional connection. Yeah, and then I have energy activations, and that's all I got for this week, guys. So energy activations, because as I said already, that like when we start to activate certain parts of our energy field, it'll start activating other parts, right? So that's all I mean by energy activation. Okay, holy guacamole, 4224, 4224. That's how long the video just was. Okay, I got a new deck of cards, guys. I got them gifted to me, actually. I never get cards gifted to me, so it made me so happy. And from a really amazing man, too. His name is Don Baker. So he is a highly evolved human being that I highly adore. So I think that's what we're going to start with. We're going to start with this Angels of Atlantis deck that I got gifted to me. And we'll just see what else I choose to use as well. So I am just going to clear the deck. Clearing all energies, clearing the deck of all energies that are not of the highest good for this reading. Source consciousness, my higher self, your higher self, all beings of 100% pure love and light. And now let's see, what is it? What is it for this week? I am presence. I haven't even pulled this card yet. This is the I am presence, Archangel Michael. Okay, and that is exactly what I was saying about tapping into, well, your I am presence is actually your source energy presence. Now, actually, I'm being guided to read out of this book because I understand what I am presence is, but I'm having a moment of like, how the hell do I describe it, right? So I'm just gonna look real quick. Because I almost started going into like I am as in the ego, because I already talked about you know, like really getting to know yourself and your kind of tics and your triggers and different things. But I am presence is not the ego at all. It's actually the opposite, right? Okay. So I am presence. This card reminds you that the throne of your spiritual sovereignty is awaiting you and that you have all the power of the Creator within you. When we discover our soul's purpose and allow ourselves to be initiated into the world as a spiritual seeker, we are often disregarded by others simply because the divine can be missing from other people's lives. Michael wishes you to sit on the throne of your true power in the universal wisdom of the one mind, and I am presence. This is the moment when divine compassion moves through you and alerts you to the fact that what you see without is also within. Feel your throne as the seat of empathy and chant Ha through your base chakra to support this energy. Holy shit, guys, we just got shown how to access this freaking base energy that I've been talking about. I didn't know that. So feel your throne as the seat of empathy and chant Ha through your base chakra to support this energy. So I'm not sure if you would hold it or if you would just say it over and over. So maybe that's something you can look into, so you could maybe just connect to it and see what works best for you. So Ha as H-A-W. So it could be like Ha. Ha. I gotta do one more just to finish it off. Okay, so Ha. That is the sound to activate the I am presence within your base chakra. So you can also probably say it a little bit faster, like Ha, 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 which honestly I feel that in my base far more than I felt the longer one. But tap into your energy and really feel into the subtle energy of your body and really use your voice to connect you to your body. Because honestly, even like humming, like sometimes like if I can't fall asleep or something, I'll hum to myself to bring myself into kind of like a lower state of consciousness, so that I'm able, like a lower brain wavelength, sorry. And that way I'm able to get into my sleep, right? And so I'm using my body as a tool to actually relax my body, right? So that was really, really cool. That was really quite a beautiful card there. So that is your I am presence, and that is Archangel Michael. So this is basically also what I'm hearing for anybody watching this, and it was just 4747, if that means anything to you. Like if you do not feel divine, if you do not feel perfect, if you do not feel good, then you're being reminded with this I am presence card that you are the divine, that you are God, and that you are spirit incarnate in a human body right now in order to experience this limiting reality, right? So it's like using that knowledge to break through your own mind, to break through your own limiting beliefs, and connecting to that peace within you, that meditative place. Okay, and then balance, guys, balance. Gabrielle, Archangel Gabrielle, balance. And I want to get one more here out of this Archangels of Atlantis Oracle cards. And planetary cycles, evolution. That's so funny. These, well, first this one came out, but then this one also came out. So here we are. So we have planetary cycles and evolution. Okay. So really, I'm just more confirmation for that I am presence card, right, guys? So it's like, this is just saying like we are ascending into the fifth dimension, as a collective, as a humanity. Like that is inevitable. That is going to happen. And so we each have to really get into our own personal I am balance, I am presence and balance of all dualities, all polarities, all things pulling you in all the direction. Pull that in and really pay attention to what's going on in the external, in the sense of like energetically, astrologically, where we are as a human evolutionary process, and what it is that we're going through right now. So we are anchoring in these Christ consciousness blueprints, templates. Source energy is flowing in through us and basically obliterating anything that is not true, which is basically most of our reality, because it's all an illusion, and we're needing all that to basically be shattered in order for us to wake up. Okay, and reminding yourself of the cycles and that we're in an evolutionary process is really going to help you. And bringing yourself back to your balance and back to your I am presence is really what is key. And I just opened up this Lightworker Oracle deck real quick, and right on the bottom is spiritual service, guys. Okay, so like this is confirmation, and this brings me back to the whole idea of the past life stuff too, right? Because that is what we are clearing right now. We are in service. We are in spiritual service to source, right? To higher consciousness, to evolve humanity and any species that we end up at any point in our evolution. That is our spiritual service, right? So let's see what's going to come through here from the Lightworker Oracle, other than spiritual service. What is it that we need to hear? What is it that we need to hear for the week? For October 11th. 11. 11, messages in the numbers. Okay, cool. So now this is confirmation for me bringing up the 1010 portal and the 1011, because the reason is to show you guys the importance of the numbers, of the messages in the numbers. Like everything is made of numbers. We live in a binary universe, right? And what that means is that basically all of reality is like some complex mathematical equation. You don't need to understand the math in order to intuitively understand it, right? So I'm not a mathematician, but I am connected to source consciousness, and I do listen because I do understand that our reality is made out of basically numbers and symbols and different patterns. And so when I start listening to the patterns, when I start listening to the numbers and hearing the messages in the numbers, then that is the breadcrumb. That is the obvious breadcrumb that I follow in order to get messages from the divine, from my I am presence. So you're really being urged to notice these numbers. And once you've noticed them, then start making meaning out of them. When you see 1111, right? Like that could be that doorway that opens when you see the number 11. It can be like, oh, look, it's a doorway opening. It's connecting me to my spirituality. It's connecting me to my higher self. Like there's so many ways that you can play with the universe and have some clear, direct messages with the universe. Perfect paradigm shift. I can't see it. Paradigm shift. So now that is the door that we are going through right now in our mind, right? So again, confirmation to implement these messages in the numbers, our spiritual service, our balance, understanding the cycles, all these different aspects. And then, of course, our I am presence to finish it off, and the Merkaba spiritual protection. So that is, when we are connected, we are protected, right? And so that is what we are also learning to do, is connect ourselves to source, because when we're connected to source, then nothing can harm us. Nothing can harm us because we are always connected and divinely guided, right? So that's really what's being activated as well right now, which is our light body, right? Which is why you're going to start connecting to the numbers and different things. And then the mind's also being activated, the fifth ray of intellectual knowledge. See how she is just a ray of light, and all of the, darker energy, like those beings around her are not of the light. Not that they're not of the light, they are just engulfed by the darkness, right? Because everything is light, really, at the end of the day. So they're focusing on the darkness, and so she is the light in the darkness, and that is because of her intellectual knowledge, right? And so we're also being activated in our intellectual knowledge. Okay, and then unplug from mass consciousness. Boom, right there. Unplug from the matrix, guys, which is through healing our emotional body and our mental body. Okay, I will do one more deck here, the Soul's Journey, and then I think I'm ready to go get some food. Okay, here we go, guys. Oh, and for all my Canadian peeps, happy Thanksgiving. I hope that everybody has had a super amazing Thanksgiving this weekend and got to see all their family and eat some really yummy food and have lots of laughs and conversations as love falls out. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. All right, let's go 2 more messages. What are the 2 focal points for this week ahead? Give us something easy to distill into 2 words. Pride. I love myself and I see myself in everyone. Oh, interesting. And it was reversed. So pride. Okay, so it was reversed. So there will be like a lot of work needing to be put in to have this empathic connection with some people. I don't know. I don't usually even talk like that, so I don't even know whose message that was. But pride, be aware of you projecting your superiority onto other people. That's the message for that, and really connect back to love. And then worry. I am learning that worry doesn't change an outcome, right? Worry, and then with worry, I'm also hearing judgment. Worry and judgment, they do not change the outcome. They do not change the person. They do not change anything other than your perception of the situation. So this 5th ray of intellectual knowledge is being activated within you so that you're able to see beyond the physical and look beyond it. And then relationships. I am attracted to those people who serve my highest good, right? And so being able to discern, hey, look, I put that there, and then I got boom, boom, and then, okay, anyway. Distracted. All these flower of lives, seed of lives. So yeah, our relationship. So I am attracted to those people who serve my highest good. So anybody that is not serving your highest good is going to be being released. And of course, discipline. Just to finish it off, I can accomplish what I set my mind to. Beautiful. Amazing. Awesome. Well, actually, I'm going to play the singing bowl just to close us out because I'm being guided to do that. So I hope that you have enjoyed this massive download of information for you today here on October 11th, 2021, Thanksgiving weekend in Canada. So yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that it helps you, and have the best week. I'm just gonna do a quick little cleanse and then be on my way. Namaste, guys. Have a beautiful week.